Hello, I'm the producer, Jacob Cook, and UpTalk is a weekly, upbeat, uplifting, forward-looking resource show, offering expert perception and advice on personal growth and development. UpTalk will feature guests with inspiring stories and messages filled with informative, life-changing insights. The delivery of this information is through a blend of common sense and practical application. UpTalk will be a big assist in satisfying the hunger for knowing the path to success. And now to our hosts, Lou Vickery and Jason Will.
Well, welcome to UpTalk. I'm Lou Vickery along with Jason Will. Well, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, one of my all-time favorite signs I saw on a bathroom wall.
Yeah, had my face on it.
Huh?
What?
Yeah, well, no, I was at the post office. I saw your face. But on the wall it says, there are only two kinds of days, good and better.
Really?
Yep. That's a good sign.
Good. That's good.
You thought I was really going to say something else, though, didn't you?
You're all about attitude, and I like that.
That's right, man. You know, that's where I get a lot of my stuff that we put in our great book, by the way.
From the bathroom?
Yeah,
from like the men's rooms?
Anywhere.
Okay.
Billboards, you know. But
right.
welcome. Hey,
right.
We want to welcome everybody. We got a great guest today.
We do.
Well, we always have great guests. We just stepping up. Hey, we're stepping up today. Got one of my relatives.
Oh, that explains a lot.
She doesn't claim me, I don't know about that, but sometimes I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Anyway. Jody Wise is going to be with us today. And Jody's a circuit clerk of one of the fastest growing counties in the country.
That sounds important.
Yeah, Baldwin County, Alabama.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Booming.
Where you do your thing in the real estate business, huh?
I'm excited about the growth. Not everybody's excited about it, but I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Jody's is going to be with us in a few minutes, and Jody's has a law degree. Now you got to have a little smarts. See, there's some smarts in our family.
Yeah.
I will say this:
she got them all.
Huh?
She got them all.
You're probably right. I will say this: we have a family tree that spans forever. That's the truth. I had 84 original first cousins. Now Jody's dad was my first. Her late dad's my first cousin.
Oh wow!
But Jody's a second cousin. We had 84 original first cousins on both sides of the family, and then that's 352 in the next level.
Wow!
Which Jody counts in that level. Now, I mean, and you know what where I'm leading this? I think we got one or maybe two attorneys in the whole group, and she's one of them.
I was thinking about the longevity of the show. Like if we just start interviewing all of your family members.
Yeah.
We could take this for a long way.
Never run out of guests.
Yes.
That's pretty good. We might try that.
Yeah.
Jody is a graduate of what was it, Livingston University at the time. It's now the University of West Alabama.
Oh, wow.
She got her law degree from the University of Alabama. She worked as a assistant.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, Roll Tide. Yeah, well, it's tough for some of us to say that, but we will say that. And then she worked as an assistant district attorney for a number of years at both down in this part of the world and up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Wow.
But and then since 2004, she's been the circuit clerk of Baldwin County. That's a big job.
Yeah, it's a big resume. I'm glad I don't have to. You don't read off my accolades.
Well,
we don't have time. It's just not,
no. We don't have time to get all yours in place, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to be talking with Jody.
It's going to be interesting.
Stuff, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I'll tell you what to do. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to ask Jody to join us.
Yeah.
And we'll talk, and then
Jody, the success or failure of the show rests on your shoulders.
You wouldn't put any pressure on her, would you? Huh? All right, you stay with us. You're watching UpTalk. I'm Lou Vickery along with Jason Will. Well, welcome back to UpTalk. I'm Lou Vickery, and our special guest. We at times, Jody Wise, we would say that was a hot seat, but that's only when Jason's sitting in it, But
good to hear.
We cooled it down a little bit. Well, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, that's great to have you. Well, we were talking about your role as a circuit clerk, but I want to go back a little bit and talk about your growing up and where you went to school and that type of thing, and talk a little bit about your early childhood and I want to kind of place an accent on where did you decide you wanted to be an attorney?
Ooh.
Okay.
So where do you want to start?
Well, let's start back. You grew up. You were born in Baymonette, Alabama, and moved to Livingston, and your dad was in the banking business over there.
Yes, he was. He was the president of McMillan and Company Bankers for 15 years in Livingston.
Uh-huh.
I went to first grade at the public high school, and then the next year is when the desegregation happened, and I went to Sumter Academy in second grade and graduated from there in 1981, and got a scholarship to Livingston University for basketball and volleyball. So I attended Livingston. Only played volleyball 1 year. Got out of sports. Got into student government, theater, photography, stuff like that.
And you were, and I know you were president, the first woman to be the president of the student body there.
I was very proud of that.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, you know, my sister Priscilla was the first one at Huntington.
That's great.
And she was a president, and she likes to remind him, a guy named Jeff Sessions was a vice president.
Wow.
So she, when she sees Jeff, she reminds. Only thing was, I think he was like a year behind her, so he grew into the role the next year. Jody Wise, our special guest with us here on UpTalk. Jody, now as you graduated in '81, you went on to Livingston, and then you made the decision to get into law. What was that about?
Well, I couldn't decide what I wanted to major in at Livingston, so I decided on English because my sister had.
Yeah.
When I was getting my English degree, I realized I either had to teach, which that's the only thing I knew I didn't want to do, or I either had to go to graduate school or law school. And so I went to law school.
Okay, just like that, I'll go to law school, right? And you went to University of Alabama Law School.
Yes. I wouldn't be able to get in now. It's gotten too good.
Well, and then after you graduated from law school, you worked as a assistant district attorney?
Yes, after a stint with Eddie Pratt, I was in private practice for about a year. And he actually fired me. So so I got the job at the district attorney's office. I never meant to get into public service, but it happened that way.
Now I want to back up a second. Getting fired, what was your reaction? I mean, how did you? I mean, you didn't just quit and not do anything. Then obviously it struck a nerve at I'll show them type attitude, huh?
Yeah, we had a disagreement, and I thought we were partners, but he fired me anyway. So I got a job actually with legal services in Tuscaloosa, and I'd already applied with the DA's office, and I was working at legal services, and 2 weeks later the DA's office called, and they had a position. So I gave legal services 6 weeks notice.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to just run out on them. So that's when I got into the assistant DA.
And then as you look back at making that move, what did you think was the biggest decision you had to make?
On going to the DA's office?
Yeah, the DA's office. I mean, you had kind of been in private practice and legal services. There has to be some kind of decision, I guess, with most attorneys. Do I go for private practice or do something and with the governmental part of it, or even corporate, I guess, is available too?
Well, I actually had applied with ADM because my father had told me there are going to be two major advances in law in the next 20 years, bankruptcy and environmental, and he hit it.
Yeah.
Dead on. So I applied with ADM and I didn't get that job. But anyway, getting back to the DA's office, it's a great training ground for trial work. And so for a young attorney.
Right.
And so it was a good opportunity for me to get in the courtroom early as opposed to going to a big corporate firm where you may be doing research for 5 years before you ever see the inside of a courtroom.
Yeah, I don't know why, and this question, I hope I ask it in the right direction. One of the things, I've been called for jury duty 3 times. All 3 times were on murder cases, and they dismissed me because I believed in the death penalty. How did they go about making the decisions the attorneys make the decisions about who they like as a juror and who they don't. That has to be a big decision, huh?
It is. As a prosecutor, I always struck engineers because it's either black or white with them.
Yeah,
if you
that's
win them
right.
over, you're good. If you don't, you're sunk.
That's right.
Teachers get a bad rap sometime as being thought of as maybe lenient, which is not the case with some of my really good teacher friends. It depends on whether it's a civil case or a criminal case, but
Sure.
that the defense struck you because I would have kept you.
Jody Wise, our special guest with us here on UpTalk. Jody, and then you did work in Tuscaloosa with it as a assistant district attorney. Then you came to Baldwin County, huh?
Yes.
What was that decision about?
That decision was based on my now ex-husband wanting
yeah.
to go to flight school.
Okay.
So we both quit our jobs, moved to Florida. I didn't practice law for several years.
Yeah, I noticed in there was a
Yeah, I figured out I wasn't going to make money any other way, so I got back in it.
There you go.
After I had a child, so that
Right.
kind of,
And you have, now let's talk about the children. You have 3 boys,
yes.
and you got, as you look now, the young one, Watson, looks like he's about 6'5" now. Big kid, huh?
He's tall.
The
Tall and
last time
skinny.
I saw him, he was, he was actually probably 3 or 4 inches shorter than I am now. He's much taller, but tell us a little bit about your children.
Bradley is my oldest. He's 22. He went to Air National Guard basic training and tech school last year, and now he's working full-time with the Guard in Montgomery.
Uh-huh.
And he's about to go to Auburn for their aviation degree starting in the fall. I'm very proud of him. My middle son, Gary Patrick, is 20, and he went to 1 year at the Citadel and did very well. He started several businesses now and decided he didn't want to go back to college. So
Well, true entrepreneurial then, in a way, huh?
he is, and he hasn't asked me for money, so that's good.
Oh, man, that's always a plus, huh?
And then Watson he'll be 17 in February, the day after my father's birthday, and he is a junior at Escambia Academy. And right now he's looking at forensic sciences or welding.
Oh,
So
yeah?
who knows?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we're going to step aside and take a break. We're going to come back. We're visiting with Jody Wise, and we'll come back and we'll continue our conversation with Jody. You stay right there. You're watching UpTalk. I'm Lou Vickery. Jason will be back with us shortly, our special guest, Jody Wise. And I haven't mentioned him, Jacob Cook, behind the, what do we say? Is he behind the camera? Is that the way we say that?
Yeah, the guy behind the guys.
The guy behind the guys. There you. Well, I like that. The guy behind the guys. Jacob Cook. We'll be back. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. UpTalk. I'm Lou Vickery and our special guest, Jody Wise. And now it's Jody L. Wise. Can I ask you what the L stands for?
Lynn,
Lynn? Okay.
after my grandmother, Lenny.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, grandmother Lenny. Your dad, Winton, and your mother, Naomi, both they're both deceased now, but they lived in their 90s, and I think both had really great lives.
They did.
Yeah.
Great parents.
Yeah, I tell you, it's nothing like good upbringing, huh?
That's the truth.
And you were the caboose.
I was by 9 years.
Yeah, I know it. I think that they've made the decision that we're going to have any more, and then this beautiful redhead shows up.
My
Right.
mother always said I was sent to take my brother Gary's place, who was
Yeah,
killed
you
at
lost
15.
you lost your brother Gary, who was killed in an automobile accident, right?
Hunting.
No? Hunting accident.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Just so unfortunate you lose. Parents are not supposed to lose kids, you know, and that's it. Well, I tell you, we were talking about your role as the assistant district attorney, and how did you get into make the move into your current position as circuit clerk?
In 2003, toward the end, the current circuit clerk, Jackie Calhoun, decided to resign. It was halfway through her term.
Mm-hmm.
And the chief assistant DA at the time, Judy Newcomb, and the chief deputy at the time, Larry Milstead, both called me and said, you know, you should put your name in for circuit clerk. And I said, why? And they said, well, you like managing, you know, like to do different things. You don't really like trial work, so you should put your name in the hat. So the local judges decide. There were 25 applications. I put mine in, and I got down to they interviewed 5, and they interviewed all of us, and they picked me. So
wow, and that was then, and then so you actually started in the role in 2004.
Correct, February 1st.
16 years of it.
Right.
And this is the end of it, huh?
This is the end of it.
Yeah, you're going to
my third term.
Well, we call it around here, you're going to be retarded. You're not retired, but
I'm
retarded.
looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to retardation.
Nothing wrong with that. There you go. But then, but you've seen dramatic changes in that role since you started.
Yes, I have. We the first day of my term, or me being the circuit clerk, we had a jury term start, and at the time somebody had to type every name that was coming up there on these little pegboard strips of paper.
Yeah.
And I was told that day, oh, by the way, that company's not making these anymore. So we had to go to computer. It was like we had to.
Right.
And so we made that transition, and best thing we ever did. And then a couple of years later, we got electronic filing. And Alabama was the first state in the nation to do that.
Uh-huh.
We don't seem to
don't seem to be first in many things.
Exactly.
Huh? Right.
And so I was very proud to be. We were the first county to do it too. So we were pilots in it, and it went from motions in it was a condo case. There was like 26 volumes of blue files, as we called them, all paper, about 3 inches thick, and there were like 100 attorneys and tons of plaintiffs and defendants. So it went from a motion practice and it blossomed into full paperless now. And I'll tell you, I had 36 employees at one time. I'm down to 22, and we can handle the job because of the electronic filing.
Oh, okay. Very good. So, and I don't know, I presume the county in that period of time probably is a third bigger than it was at that point in time.
We may have doubled.
Double. It's getting close to 200,000 people.
It is. I think it was around 98,000.
Yeah, at that time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that tells you right there. And now, as you look back on your career and what you've done, and understanding that with the nature of what we have in our audience, we've got a lot of people that are thinking about maybe doing something new or something different. As you look back, what do you think some of the driving factors were that kind of kept Jody Wise moving forward?
I'd have to go back to my parents. My father had an awesome work ethic. He started working, I think, when he was about 8 years old.
Yeah. And
I've just always been interested in many different things. I couldn't decide what I did like to do, but everything I tried, I liked. So I tell you, it's God. He's led me the whole way and opened the doors that I just went through, and I had no idea being circuit clerk would be so fulfilling, and it really has, because the main thing I like to do is help people.
Right.
And it's a good job.
And you get an opportunity to do that.
I do. And working with jurors is awesome too.
Right. You know, and you really setting up a schedule, and that's what your office does, of the jury schedule, or how many people are going to be before this judge and how many before that judge. They can get pretty, I don't want to call it cumbersome, but it does appear to be that sometimes.
I enjoy it. It's like herding cats. That's what I call it. I enjoy it. I find out from each of the 4 or 5 judges if they're striking the next day, and it's computerized, and I get the list ready for them and make my message for the jurors, and they show up, and we split them up and go strike.
If you had somebody out there that maybe was weighing the possibility, well, maybe I'd like to go to law school, or I might like to be involved in law, what would you recommend to them?
Don't do it. Just kidding. If I were them, before I did that, you can do a lot of things with a law degree. That's what I always heard, and it is true. But if you're wanting to be an attorney, I would definitely shadow one, volunteer, go to court with them, or if it's a corporate firm, see what they actually do.
Yeah.
Because they don't teach you how to practice law in law school. They teach you how to think like a lawyer. And how the language.
But
You actually
the
learn.
process itself, they don't necessarily go through
No,
that.
procedure and the rules and all of that. You take classes on that, but actually filing things, the circuit clerk's office really helps young lawyers prepare to practice law.
All right. Jody, what would you like to leave with our audience?
Oh, gosh. Find what you love to do, what you're passionate about, and go for it. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do. If you love something, like somebody I know used to say, you'll never work a day in your life.
On a recent show, I talked about one of the Yogi Bear isms, as we call it, his great philosophy. One of them is that somebody may tell you that won't work, but somebody may tell you can't do it, but that doesn't always work. And there's always some, and unfortunately, isn't it true that a lot of times it's family members that tell you they don't want you to be hurt? You don't want to do that because, you just may not, nobody else in the family has done it, and you get that kind of stuff. And and it's just unfortunate, too, that the very people that you would want to encourage you, they have a tendency to discourage you only because they feel like they don't want you to get hurt.
That's true.
But you may start it and not succeed at it.
Well, one thing my father told me, I wanted to be a photojournalist and go to the Rhode Island Institute of Technology. And he said, "How are you going to make money?"
Yeah.
I'm like, back to the law thing.
Right, back to the law firm. That's right. Well, Jody, we appreciate you being with us.
Thank
you
you
for coming.
Appreciate it.
We wish you well. And you have about another year to serve.
2 years.
2 years.
And 1 month.
2 years and 1 month. All right. Well, we certainly wish you well. Appreciate the job you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jody Wise, our special guest. Hang around. Jason will be back. You're listening to, you're watching and listening both to UpTalk. I'm Lou Vickery. Stay with us.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Ronnie Watkins Ford. Before I became a Ford dealer, I was an automobile salesman, and I became a sales trainer for about 15 years. And what we would do many times is we send people off to these expensive training programs. For instance, send them to Atlanta, pay a couple $1,000s to get a seat of about 100 people in it, and they have all this rah, and they teach you how to sell something. And you pay for the room and board and all this kind of things. But here's what really works. You get a good book. You can take a book and you take people like my personal friend Lou Vickery, which I know very well, wrote this book on motor vapors. I've actually bought this book. I gave it to our sales managers, our salespeople. I've done a sales meeting on it. And one of the things that really motivated me on this book is the one where it says, so do you want to be average? You think nobody wants to be average. And they really don't, but they don't have a track to run on. They don't know exactly what to do. This book tells you everything. This is not a book you get in and you read, I think it's 150 pages or whatever the length of it is. You don't read the book. You live by the book. You take the book. You find out where you're having a weakness in that particular day. Do you need to up your attitude? Do you need to be a gold digger that day? In other words, when he says gold digger, that's Goal. You have to go back and analyze your goals. What's your purpose here? What's driving you? What motivates you? What makes you want to do that? All of us need help and need motivation. One of my favorite guys of all time, Zig Ziglar, he said, we all know motivation doesn't last, but neither does bathing. That's why I do it daily. And so motivation is a daily thing. You have to keep yourself going, And that's what this book does. Don't waste your money traveling, long nights alone, or whatever. Take the book, take it with you, take it on your job. When you get frustrated, get the motivation you need. It's one of the best books I've ever read on motivation and helping become successful in sales. But all it does is give you the guideline. You have to be committed to follow these steps. Thank you.
You can find the book at louvickerybooks.com. It's also at Amazon. But if you want an autographed copy, we can get it for you at louvickerybooks.com. Check it out. Oh, man, what a day, huh?
It's been a long day.
Yeah, well, it's been a nice day.
It has been a nice day.
Yeah.
What am I saying?
Well,
Where are we?
Welcome back to UpTalk.
Yeah.
I'm Lou Vickery along with Jason Will. Well, what'd you get out of our interview with Jody?
I enjoyed it. Y'all have a great, well, I mean, obviously you're related, but y'all have a great rapport.
Yeah, I tell you what, her dad, Winton Wise, Winton been gone about 2 years now, but he lived into his 90s. See, I'm going to give you a little history, a little trivia here.
Okay.
Her grandfather was the first child of my grandparents, and my mother was the 16th child of my grandparents, all singles. So my mother, as a result,
16.
has like 5 or 6 of her nieces and nephews that are older than she is, because she was the youngest one.
16 kids?
16 kids. Yeah. And
That must have been before, you could buy stuff. Before drugstores. Maybe, I don't know.
yeah. Well, I tell you what, it's, I guess you live on a farm. You just keep them coming so they can
Keep working.
keep working,
Yeah,
right?
it's your labor force.
Yeah. My mother would say my grandmother would go into the kitchen to prepare breakfast and never come out till after dinner.
Really?
We in those days, supper,
Yeah.
we call it supper at night. So, except to go to the restroom.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was...
That many mouths to feed.
Oh, yeah. You should have seen the table. I mean, our grandfather, when he designed a new home, which was, I think they moved there in 1915. My mother was born in 23. And by the way, I'm blessed to still have my mother.
Yeah.
She is the only one that's left now.
She's in her 90s.
Yes, 96. She lost her 99-year-old sister last year.
Good genes.
And I think out of the girls, 5 or 6 of them lived into their 90s.
Wow.
So it's,
That's incredible.
yeah, it really is a great gene pool there, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but I didn't mean to
Enough
get off
about
on-
you.
Yeah,
Really.
that's
Seriously.
it,
You're
yeah.
really going on and on. It's enough.
Well, let's talk about what Jody talked about that you found that to be intriguing.
Yeah. So, before we got into kind of the meat and potatoes of who she is and what she does, she had an interesting little story about how she had gotten fired.
Yeah.
And, I thought that was interesting. But before that, I forgot I wanted to talk about something. She didn't know what she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was super interesting. She thought she wanted to be a journalist and, really didn't figure it out until later. It was
Right.
like that old, she had a talk with her dad, and her dad was like, let's pick something a little more practical. So she went into law. But I thought it was really important when she talked about how, she had been fired from that job, and you could tell that it was a painful moment in her life, but
Yeah.
it was what I refer to this like as the power of the pivot,
Power of the pivot.
power of the pivot. So, she didn't know at that time. It was a devastating moment at that time.
Right.
Still kind of gets to her a little bit, it's still,
But it turned out to be quite a motivating force for her. You can see that.
motivational, and then just set her on this course of destiny. She couldn't be happier doing what she's doing, but she
Yeah.
never would be, living her passion if she hadn't gotten fired. So it's all perspective.
That's it.
That was really, really powerful, I thought.
Right.
It just,
And and
simple.
we've got people watching it. I'm sure some have lost positions, maybe some right now, to kind of weighing what they want to do next. But it's amazing how you just you throw your hat in the ring and find some place to throw the hat in the ring and then go for it, right?
yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, you got to throw your hat in the ring.
Right.
You're not going to find your calling, your passion, your place in this world by sitting on the sidelines.
Nope.
So,
In fact, you wrote something like that.
yeah.
I guess in the book.
Yeah, I think that you get the book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
Amazon.com.
Yeah, you wrote exactly about not being on the sideline.
Yeah. So it's just this. She's been in these places of transition in her life,
Right.
and there's always been a purpose behind that. And she did talk about how her faith has led her in these times of kind of not having a totally, laser focused direction on where
Right.
she's going to end up next, that she just always knew it was going to work out. She always knew that she was going to be where she needed to be ultimately.
Absolutely.
And so I thought there was a really good lesson there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I got some really good quotes from her. The first one was, the main thing I like to do is help people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I really feel like if somebody out there is down in the dumps, depressed, going through a hard time, I feel like really the best way to get out of a funk is to do something for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And, she just gets to live that dream. Like her profession is all about helping people. And so that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very much it is. One of the things I briefly mentioned earlier, you and I are working on a social capital program because I think this day and age is so vitally important to understand that relationships, particularly in the sales field, I just don't see how you can market something, particularly like what you deal with, a house I know you have visual stuff, but it's not like getting in there and feeling it and tasting it and getting fired up about it, right?
Rarely that ever works out that way. Rarely do they fall in love with something online and it's the same experience in person.
Right.
And I find that the more that technology, that evolves and becomes more important, more of an integral part of our daily life, the more people crave like this old school interaction.
Right, true. They want somebody to look them eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was leading in a direction there because there's a quote that comes to mind is relationships are the greatest earthly strength that we have. And the only way I know to effectively develop a quality relationship is to get face to face and sit down and ask questions and listen and get involved together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes through layers too, because when we're talking about people having virtual conversations on social media.
Yeah.
And then, I have a lot of my agents that are having, telephone conversations.
Sure.
And, they'll be talking to somebody for months at a time. And then when they get ready to buy a house, somebody at church goes, well, hey, you should use my good friend Jan. And so they've been talking to my agent for 3 months, but somebody at church, recommended Jan, and maybe Jan's there at church, or
right.
So it's the power of the relationship's always going to win over everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer in that too.
Yeah.
Okay. What else you got?
Yeah. So we've talked about this just a little bit, but I would just want to make sure the main point about her being able to live and work her passion is because one of her kind of principles in life is to find your passion.
Right.
So find your passion in life, and I would just add to that and say never stop searching for your passion in life. We've talked about that a good bit on the show about, this is not a dress rehearsal.
Oh, no, it's not.
So if you're out there and you're not, passionate about what you do, let's just recap here. You could ground this into some sort of product, service, profession, industry that serves others, and you're probably going to find a lot of fulfillment in that.
Amen.
Yeah. She said, if you want to go, if you're interested in something, one way you can find your passion is go shadow somebody that does something that you're interested in and see if you actually want to do it.
Right.
I think a lot of people would probably look at the profession of law and say, well, it's just glamorous, industry and profession, and it absolutely has a lot of prestige to it, but it may be boring.
Yes.
To you. I mean, not everybody's going to be the trial attorney on, in the movie. So,
very small, minute number.
Yeah.
Reach that level.
So go get in there and see what it's all about. She made a point to say, go in there and really, spend a full day just seeing what is in, what is in the day-to-day operations and even the minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour operations of something that you're interested in doing.
That's good.
Yeah. And this is going to be really, really powerful, especially from people that are in probably challenging home environments or, very, very restrictive environments or even socioeconomic environments.
Right.
But never let somebody tell you can't do something.
Oh, absolutely.
I see it a lot in my industry. People say, "Oh, you're going to go into 100% commission-based sales. You'll never make it. You'll never make it. You don't want to do that."
Yeah.
And that's just, you can't let somebody dictate your life. But as you mentioned, it's a kind of a protection, a defense mechanism there. They're trying to protect them, right?
That's right. They feel like that's what they're doing is protect them.
Yeah. What Jody said, who did she say that says this in y'all's family? Go eyeball them.
Yeah.
Go eyeball them.
Go eyeball them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Go
We need to
eyeball
do-
them.
We need to eyeball many folks as we possibly can, in
Yeah.
my estimation.
I mean, life is a contact sport. You know what I'm saying? And then,
Yeah, it really is.
yeah. So you're not going to figure everything out behind a computer screen or an iPad or your mobile device. You need to get out there and I think we're going to see that. I am predicting a trend right now, Lou. This is going to be a monumental thing. This is going to put the show on the map.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Well, this show is already on the map. We just got to have more people looking at the map.
Yeah, we're going to get
Right.
people are actually going to talk about this show to the point where they decide to view it.
Hey,
That's my prediction.
all right. You're listening to UpTalk. I'm Lou Vickery along with Jason Will. Hey, we got to take a break. We'll be back. Hey, well, it's been an interesting day. Tell folks a little bit about your business.
Well, I am a real estate agent.
You're a
So,
broker too.
yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't like to toot my own horn.
No, but you got a team of what, over 100 people working with?
We've got several agents, and we cover the entire Alabama Gulf Coast. So if you're looking for a vacation home, a rental investment property, a condo, we have beautiful beaches, white sandy beaches down here on the Alabama Gulf Coast.
Very few people. Well, no, I don't
Lots
say that
of-
very few people. You go down and look at all the high rises. There's at any one time there can be 250,000 people on the island.
Yeah, that's
know
pretty amazing.
It is.
Well, I'll never forget, when Jimmy Buffett performed at the beach, and there was a helicopter overhead with the video cameras pointed down. It was right at sunset, so you had the sun setting below the condos, and you had Jimmy Buffett performing on the beach, and then our water is a lot of times it's kind of just a deep emerald green. It's not real clear, but this day it had like shades of clear blue and green. I mean, it's just like it looked like you were in Fort Lauderdale or something like
Right.
that. And I thought, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. And since then, we've had a lot of folks calling
Well,
us.
I'm going to share something with you because I lived in Fort Lauderdale, and their beaches on that side are nothing like they are on our side as far as beauty.
I agree.
The water, even the water itself, is not. The Atlantic is not as pretty as the Gulf.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that. I've lived on both.
Well,
So
okay then.
how about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
So- all right, just real quick, and then I know it's your show, but it's jasonwillrealestate.com.
yeah, but hey, this show does not motivate and move forward without your great presence and your wonderful, wonderful comedian background.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to make sure my
Did I
wife
say
sees this
that
part.
good? Huh?
It was
Thank you.
very, you
I do wanna-
pronunciated everything like very accurately. It was amazing.
Hey, I got a book coming this spring that I'm real excited about called Reach Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's reach beyond, jump over hurdles, and land on success. And we talk about a lot of things that we've shared here. And I think I share about 40 stories of people that I've bumped into over these years. That's one advantage that you have, you know, when you live a longer time period. of
Yeah.
time. You know, you grow all these gray hairs, you meet a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. More stories.
I estimate I've probably met 3 million people.
Wow.
My time and traveling and speaking and playing ball. You know,
That you would not have met them if you were, looking at your phone or
that's right.
playing on the computer.
That's right. Would not have done that. That's
Yeah.
true.
I tell you, I went to, and I've talked about it a little bit on the show, went to a leadership event out in Texas also. It's called Discover Leadership. And anybody that is looking to kind of, for an experience to pull them outside their comfort zone should go. But one of the main things they do is they take your phone away from you for 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
And it was amazing. At night, after dinner, we talked.
Mm-hmm.
And we played card games. And, it was like, I was like, wow, I remember this. This is fun, interacting with people and getting to know people. So it's really important. I'm glad we talked about that a great deal today.
Yeah, and it's really great. The last chapter in my new book, Reach Beyond, talks about taking the phone, what to do with the phone, and what we need to have some at least 24-hour periods where we don't have it with us.
Yeah.
And I know that's a real adjustment for a lot of people, but yet the ability to communicate and visit. I tell you what really prepped me on that. I watched a family in an airport sitting side by side, and they're texting each other. They're not even talking, they're texting each other. And the reason I know that is when I'm going to look at the other one, and give them a little body language. And that's, but they were sitting there, and the parents along with two young children. So I don't know. But, hey, I got nothing against cell phones because I don't know what we'd do without them. But I do think
that's how Jacob finds his ladies.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
I mean, they do serve a purpose.
We better sound off before we let this one get away from us. We do appreciate you being with us. I tell you one thing that I believe in, and I think that all of us here believe in, is the importance of laughter. I tell everyone to listen. Nobody has been known to die of laughter.
Not that I've ever heard
Never
of
heard about it. You laugh, enjoy it, have some humor in your life. By the word humor comes from the word humor, which means clear, clean water. It makes you feel good on the inside.
Oh.
See what you learned?
That was
there?
deep.
There you go. Hey, we'll be back again soon. And until then, do this for yourself. Keep a smile on your face. Keep happiness in your heart. Keep optimism on your tongue. And you'll be a winner wherever you are. I'm Lou Vickery, Jason Will, Jacob Cook. See you next time.
Thank you for our sponsors, Tinder.com.
The world is full of unemployed comedians.
Really?
But I think you could get a job.
As an unemployed comedian, I agree. Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.